Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my live video or podcast replay, depending on what platform that you are watching on. So a little bit different today, because usually it's all about health and wellness for you and your pets. And tonight I'm covering slightly something different, which is why dogs bite. But it is still a health issue, because as an emergency medicine doctor, I have seen my fair share of patients coming in with dog bites, and this is something that we can do something about. Now, this presentation is part of something I presented at a major trauma conference, and so I thought I'd adapt it to share it here. So for those that you don't know me, I am Dr. Helen. I'm an emergency medicine doctor and also a certified animal aromatherapy specialist, as well as an advocate for integrative wellness. And I love to help people and their pets with an integrative approach to their health. So if you like what you're listening to, please hit the follow or the subscribe button. And if you want to look at your health or your pets in a natural way, then do get in touch and find out how I can help you. Now, if you're not listening to this on a podcast but watching this on YouTube or Facebook, you will see a picture of a dog, snapping, growling, being quite aggressive. If you're listening to this and you want to see all the pictures, then do check out the recording in YouTube or Facebook. So first of all, is this dog aggressive? Yes or no? Now, this is actually my dearly departed dog, Treacle, and she was behaving like this because she was very scared of someone at the dog training facility that I was working at when I was in medical school. She was actually a very, very sweet, loving dog, beautiful, but this was absolute fear. And this is obviously a reason that dogs can bite. So this is her looking much more demure, absolutely cracking dog, very, very beautiful and friendly and great with kids, as I said. So I'm an emergency medicine doctor. I work at a major trauma centre, but outside of medicine, pretty much everything that I do is aligned with dogs or pets in some way. So I'm a canine massage therapist, a canicross instructor. I worked as a dog trainer when I was at medical school. I'm an animal aromatherapy specialist. I'm a scent work instructor, and I'm almost qualified after a 3-year course to be a dog behaviourist. And I'm also doing a course in Aggression in Dogs master course by Michael Shikashio. I'm canine arthritis management level 1 advocate, and I've got 6 dogs and 2 cats. So that is why I ended up presenting this at a conference. And because obviously my qualifications with 2 hats on mean that I can talk about this. So first of all, 91% of dog bites happen in the home with a dog the child knows, and that is a statistic that comes from Dogs Trust. But this also backs up my own research. So I have studied dog bites in children over the 10-year period, both on a formal and informal basis. I did a retrospective analysis and collected a year's worth of notes looking at dog bites, and then I created a form and then spent another year with a form being given to clinicians to fill out when dog bites presented in the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital. And the vast majority of bites are completely and utterly preventable. Most bites are actually not from aggression. That is only a tiny minority. And I mean sort of a dog that's really aggressive. It's, as opposed to a dog that might react out of fear. But a lot of bites are opportunistic, from play or just from startle and things like that. Lack of supervision and poor management is a key factor. And obviously, by studying what is going on and the reason behind why children are getting bitten means that we can actually start looking at what we can do to prevent that. So first of all, injuries to children. So typically babies under the age of 2 are more likely to get bitten about the face. And this is obviously how they investigate the world. They're crawling around, they're looking at things, getting really up close and personal. Much like a dog actually investigates the world with their noses and their mouths. Then between 5 years and up to about the age of 12 years, children are more likely to get bitten on the hands because of their size. And then older children will get bitten more on the legs. And so, when you're, if you look at how your dogs investigate the world, they're mouthing things, they're licking at things. And that's where sort of little opportunistic bites can happen. And there was a case a few years ago with a Jack Russell Terrier who killed a 3-week-old baby, and there was just one puncture wound to that baby's head, and the dog was curled up in a cot with the baby. That wasn't aggression. That was just, the dog checking out the baby, and unfortunately it punctured an artery in the baby's head, and because babies have such soft skulls. So what breed? Well, any breed can bite. And this is something that's really important to recognize. It doesn't matter, any breed can bite, but the types of bites they have and why they might bite can be something to do with the predatory action sequence, which is this. The full sequence is scan, orient, eye, stalk, chase, grab, bite, kill, bite, dissect, and consume. And how much of that sequence is in your dog is largely related to genetics. So your natural dogs, such as your Alaskan Malamutes and your Huskies, will have this predatory sequence intact, whereas other dogs will have some of it and some will be muted, depending on what we as humans have selected for over the years to create these breeds. And how we modify them in order for them to live alongside us and help us do the jobs that we want them to do. So the terrier doesn't have a scan or an eye stalk. They have an orient and they go straight to chase. Terriers are tenacious. They don't think about it. They just act. They may have a dissect and consume part to it, but they orient and they just act, and they grab and they kill, bite. So this is all related to they were developed really because they needed to keep rats away in settlements, so they were used for pest control. So this is how humans have bred this particular breed. Then we have the gun dogs, which are my favorites. I've got 3 spaniels. The picture of the 3 is my dogs. And so again, the spaniels and the other gun dogs, it's all about the orient, eye, stalk, chase, not so much, but might be there, and grab, bite. The other things are bred out. And obviously within all these breeds, you will have the norm, and then you will have the outliers where they don't quite fit to the norm. But this is generally what you have. And spaniels particularly, and all the gun dogs that are retrieving, they will have soft mouths because, you know, they want a soft mouth to bring back the game so it's not damaged. And that's the ideal. So can't talk about breeds without covering sort of bull breeds, XL bullies, because unfortunately these dogs do cause some really horrendous injuries with patients. Most of my colleagues will say some of the worst injuries they've seen are from these breeds. So let's just look at the history of the bull breed. So they go back to Roman times, and they were a breed that was used at gladiator times for entertainment, for bull baiting. And you wanted a very, very strong dog that was obviously going to go up against the bull. And then in 16th century life, they were bred for dog fighting because it was a sport, and so they were crossed with the terrier for the tenacity and for the fact that the dog would just act and wouldn't, you know, if it was bitten, it's not going to just shy away, it's just going to hold on. So you've got this breed, and that's how it's developed. So most of the predatory action sequence has been muted, but the grab bite and the kill bite is still very much there. Now, the interesting thing about these breeds is you can actually have dogs that actually don't have any of this at all, and the predatory action sequence is out of it, and they are just very soft dogs. And then you get obviously the dogs where it is intact. Now, with breeding, one of the problems is that you get someone who perhaps is breeding them for these aggressive tendencies. They perhaps have a litter of, say, 8 dogs. 2 of the puppies have the tendencies they want, 2 have absolutely nothing at all. And then you have these 4 dogs that will have a varying range of these tendencies, and they end up in pet homes who might not have any idea of what they were originally bred for or what the breeder was actually breeding them for. And this can actually be a problem. And I've come across patients where they have told me where they've been bitten by a bull breed or a breed like this, where they thought it was play originally when the dog grabbed their arm, and then the switch was flipped and they realized that actually it was no longer play. And I'm going to cover that a bit more. So enrichment. What your dogs find enriching is largely related to their breeding, their genetics, what they were bred to do. So you've got the bull breeds that like to hold on to things and play tuggy. You've got the huskies that like to chase. You've got the border collies for herding. And you can see, you know, if these dogs are not getting their needs met, it can result in sort of undesirable behavior. You know, the collie that can't herd sheep is herding the children in the home and maybe nipping at their ankles. You've got the greyhound that has a high prey drive because that's what they're bred to do. They're bred to chase the lure. So anything small and furry, that could be a game over. You've got the gun dogs that just want to parade things. They want to fetch you back your slippers and the toys and things like that. And how far within a lot of breeds there are sort of working lines and show lines, and this obviously will dictate how prevalent certain behaviors are as well. It's all about dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter that makes us feel happy and rewarded, and it's the same for our dogs. So when they are doing something that is inherent in them, they are getting that hit of dopamine. This is my dog's Evie on a gun dog training day at Chatsworth House retrieving a rabbit. She wouldn't dream of killing a rabbit. We've had house rabbits here, and she's as gentle as they come. But she was sent to fetch a dead rabbit and she retrieved it. It's a dopamine releasing activity for her. Same as a bull breed, tugging on a tuggy, it's going to release the dopamine. The border collie chasing the sheep, it's getting that hit of dopamine. And obviously when you get problems is when some of these needs aren't met. So when we're looking at what causes dog bites, we have to look at distant antecedents. So these are all the things in the background before the bite's even a factor. So environmental. So is it perhaps a breed that's in the wrong home for them? Is it a collie dog from a farm that's really strong working lines in a pet home which just isn't getting their needs met? Maybe it's an overseas dog that isn't used to being in essentially captivity. Now, I've got nothing against overseas dogs. I've got 3, but a lot of these dogs are from the streets, and there are unscrupulous rescues who are just picking dogs up akin to puppy farming and then just rehoming them in quote marks to unsuspecting people and expecting them to be family pets, when actually these dogs didn't need rescuing. They just were quite happy doing what they were doing on the streets. And you then have a dog that's in a home that doesn't want to be there. It may be fearful, it may just escape at the nearest opportunity, and so you will get environmental problems. Nutritional problems. Are they being fed a diet that actually isn't agreeing with them, that's causing them pain or allergies? Or maybe it's just causing them to be too hyper. Physical characteristics. Are they a big dog in a very small home? Maybe they've got some physical problems. You know, my blind dog doesn't have any eyes, because obviously that's why she's blind. You know, and she once got stung by a wasp while she was sitting next to me, and she turned around and bit me on the leg. She didn't intend to bite me. She was just responding to the fact that she's got bitten by a wasp, but she couldn't see. You've got, what other medical problems? Is it arthritis? Have they got some other medical issues? Maybe they're a dog with epilepsy and they bite during a seizure. What about behavior? Now, obviously, certain breeds can predispose to certain undesirable behaviors, perhaps resource guarding. But there's other behaviors, fearfulness. You know, that your overseas dog that doesn't want to be in captivity may show signs of trauma. There's lots of different behavior problems that may contribute to a dog bite, or it may just be the behavior that's inherent in the breed. The dog that likes to parade with a toy may have a bit of resource guarding that actually, you know, and then doesn't want to give that toy to the child. So play features really hugely in why children get bitten for a vast amount of different reasons. So first of all, you know, you've got a dog toy there. The dog likes walking around with it, but what actually distinguishes that toy to the dog from the toy that the child is hugging? So it may be that the dog goes and tries to hug the toy or play with the toy, and the child says no, and there's a little bite there. Or perhaps the child is running around with a flag and the dog is enjoying that kind of thing and goes and grabs the flag and the child gets bitten on the hand. But that also brings me to the game of tuggy. Now, I do not like the game of tuggy to be played with children. And the reason is this game has a massive role in why children are getting bitten during play. Because unless you are teaching your dog when to play and when to not play, your dog doesn't actually know the difference. They can't realize that actually the child that's running around with a flag is not trying to incite the game of tuggy. The child that has the toy is not trying to incite the game of tuggy. And this is where you actually get problems. So it's really important, if you are wanting to play tuggy with your dog, and personally I do advise people with children not to, you have proper instructions for it. I actually did a course with Craig Ogilvie, so I would learn the proper way to play tuggy, and you must always have a play cue and a break cue. So that is game on and a very clear game off, because children do get injured. And this was backed up by some stats from the Merseyside Dog Safety Partnership, and they found the vast majority of the dog bites in their study were coming from children playing with dogs. Also stroking a dog, and also hugging and kissing a dog, because obviously we know a lot of dogs don't like to be hugged or kissed. But just to look at some of these comments: patient playing tug with toy and dog without nappy on and moved toy away from dog. The dog went to bite the toy and bit the penis instead. So that's an injury. I've seen facial injuries from the game of tuggy, because again, it's been a small child playing tuggy and the dog has gone to grab the toy and missed. That isn't aggression. These are just opportunity bites from when there's inappropriate play. This one, obviously, dog was sleeping, child approached the dog and kissed her on the nose, startling the dog, and she snapped. You know, I'm sure if I was asleep and someone just startled me, I'd probably act out as well. This is a child tripping over an elderly dog who had health problems and was blind, and so again, it's a startle response like my blind dog with the wasp. And then playing with a bubble machine, and both child and dog went to get a bubble. Again, you can see how these things are happening. So pain, massive problem as well. So when I've taken histories, I've had parents go, oh, their dog used to be okay and now they're grumpy. The dog is not grumpy. The dog's in pain. 80% of dogs over the age of 8 have arthritis. 20% of those dogs will not show any obvious signs. So you may think that your dog isn't in pain, but they can develop certain phobias, particularly sound. You know, this is something that, you know, if you've got a dog that suddenly developed a sound phobia, you must look at pain, panting, loss of appetite, less tail wagging, sleeps more, sleeps less, difficulty going to the toilet. So typically they're moving around rather than squatting in one place, slowing down on walks, changes in temperament, stiffness. So these are all signs that the dog could be in pain, and obviously that could prompt a bite. Tolerance. So I went onto Instagram. I wanted to get some pictures of dogs and children in inappropriate positions, and I came across this awful video that someone has put together thinking it's really cute. So I took some stills from it. So first of all, we've got the young toddler drinking out of the dog bowl with the dog there. The toddler actually pushes the dog away. Parents obviously just filming. You have another one at the top is the husky's actually trying to escape from the child, and the child is just continually to chase the husky, and the parents obviously just carrying on filming, putting that dog under stress. Then you've got the dog at the bottom, the white dog is actually trying to nip the child's feet, and the parent is just bringing the child in like an aeroplane towards the dog's feet. The dog goes to nip, and then he takes the child away, and he keeps doing this. What the hell? Why are you teasing the dog like this? This is, again, all accidents waiting to happen. And then you've got, obviously, the child on the German Shepherd playing horsey and playing with the dog's ears. This is something not to encourage at all. You could be injuring your dog. You could be causing your dog pain. The dog is very good at tolerating, but that's not a reason to let your child do this, and your child will grow, your dog will get old, and whether or not they weren't in pain when they first did it, at some point that child is probably going to cause that dog pain and feel uncomfortable. And then what happens? The child gets bitten. So this is a picture that shows some of the signals that a dog gives to people that are often not recognized, and they sort of are saying, you know, I don't like this, I want you to back off. And quite often parents are like, oh, it's just so cute, look at them, but actually that dog is under stress and that dog could bite. So you've got all those distant things going on in the background, but what happens in the minutes before the bite? What is the activity that causes that dog to bite? So is there a problem around food? Are they child feeding the dog some food? Maybe they get their fingers, or maybe the dog gets some food out of the child's mouth. Maybe the child goes to get food out of the dog's mouth. Okay. Playing ball. You can see that maybe they're playing the ball. The dog goes to grab the ball here and actually misses and gets the child instead. Grooming the dog. Maybe the dog doesn't want to get groomed. Maybe they get a knot. Maybe they're trying to clip the dog's claws and it's uncomfortable. It's something that dog doesn't like to do, and so they act out from that. Dog and child in a bed together, you know, that makes me feel really, I don't like these pictures at all, because it could be uncomfortable for the child. The child could roll onto the dog, who then might snap. Child might throw up, might have a dirty nappy that the dog then goes to investigate and punctures. You know, it only needs a small little opportune bite from a canine, and that child could actually need significant surgery or even die, as I said in the case of the young 3-week-old baby and the terrier. And then we have the bucket. So all those things that are going on in the background, all those distant antecedents, are filling up your dog's bucket. So it's the emotions bucket, and you know, it's where all the stress goes. Now, from ourselves, we've probably all heard of the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, this is the same with our emotions bucket. You know, when we get stressed, it goes into that bucket, and if we don't empty that bucket with calming exercises, we will explode. That bucket will overflow, and this is exactly the same for our dogs. So much of the reasons for these dogs biting comes from stuff beforehand, where perhaps the dog has been put under stress, and then it's been a final thing, something quite small. You know, the parents going, the dog just acted without any warning. They didn't. There were all these things. Their bucket was overflowing, and the dog suddenly erupted. Obviously, that's very different to the opportunistic bite because of maybe the dirty nappy or the playing of the ball. But all these things can act on the reason that the dog bites the child. So a really good case to exhibit this is the sad case of Ellie Lawrenson, who died on New Year's Eve in 2006 in St Helens. So Ellie was a young girl. There was a pit bull type dog that belonged to the uncle, who was known to, I think, deal drugs and had some drug offences. And he had this dog. The dog wasn't allowed to be around Ellie because the dog had shown some jealousy towards Ellie. The uncle there was video footage of the uncle training dogs, again, those quote marks, with getting the dog to hold on to a football, and then was kicking the ball away from the dog and encouraging the dog to grip harder onto the football. So this was a game that the owner was playing with the dog. On the night in question, the parents went out for New Year's Eve, and Grandma was looking after Ellie. So, you know, the dog was not allowed to be around Ellie because we know the dog's not safe to be around Ellie. Grandma was smoking cannabis, so you get an immediate antecedent there where there's a risk, you know, poor judgment. It's cold outside. The dog is outside. There are also fireworks going off as well. So all these things are causing the dog to be stressed outside, and the dog was unhappy being outside. So Grandma brought the dog in. At some point, a firework went off. So obviously the dog is already stressed, so that bucket's very full up. A firework then goes off, and the dog attacked Ellie, grabbing her around the neck. Just remember that dog was taught how to grab and hold on because of the actions that the owner did with that football in the documentary I saw. And so Ellie actually had 72 wounds to her neck. Grandma fought very hard to try and save Ellie, but there was no way she was going to be able to get that dog to release that young baby, that young child. And Ellie sadly died. There's several steps within that could have meant Ellie didn't die and that she wouldn't have been bitten. And just interrupting certain steps, not carrying out certain actions, making certain changes would have saved Ellie's life. So there's always more than just one thing that contributes to these dog bites. So 10 things that could prevent dog bites. First of all, never disturb a sleeping dog. Okay, just no, don't let your dog up and kiss your child go up and kiss a sleeping dog. Growling is good. If your dog is growling, it is the final warning before they bite that actually they want you to back off. So respect that. Balls, toys, be mindful how you let your child play with your dog. You know, supervise it. If you're going to play the game tuggy, as I said, I don't advise it with children. Make sure you are teaching it appropriately. And just be careful around toys, and, you know, teach your child that if the dog has a toy, you don't go to take that toy off the child. And also, you know, teach different things with your dog as well. Always ask permission of the owner if your child can say hello to a dog. Make sure your dog has some safe space in the house that they can go to and get away from the child, where the child will not follow, so that they can have some time out. And so they can go there if they're feeling stressed. Supervision management, really important that you supervise the interactions between your child and your dog. Food. If your dog is eating, your child must be away. If your child is eating, your dog must be away. Keep them separate, okay? Because there are certain, I've seen bites that have been around because of food. If you're out walking your dog and you see a child, just pop your dog on a lead. Keep everything very safe. If you're out with your child and you see a dog, just keep your child in safe. And again, don't let your child just run past a dog that they don't know or go up and interact with a dog that they don't know either. Don't be hugging and kissing a dog. Most dogs don't like it. I've got 6 dogs. Some of my dogs are very huggy and kissy. Some of my dogs aren't. And it's just about respecting that. But obviously it's very easy. If they don't like it, they can get bitten around the face. And don't let your child lie on your dog. Don't let them play horsey or anything like that. So I just want to show you the canine ladder of aggression. This is from Dr. Kendall Shepherd, who is a veterinary behaviourist and also an expert witness, as you know, in terms of dangerous dogs. So this is a ladder. So the green arrows are all calming signals, and it is going up. And these are all signs that your dog exhibits when they are feeling under stress. And you can see the growling is just before the snapping and biting. So if you tell your dog off for growling, your dog is going to stop growling, because why would they growl? They get told off for it. They are literally just going to go from maybe lying down, stiffening up, to a bite. And so you've lost that last level of protection. So, but all these other signs are signs, they're calming signals that your dog says that actually I'm no threat and I just need you to back off. Respect that, because otherwise you're going to easily end up with a bite, and because your dog's emotions bucket is overflowing. So if you want some more resources, do check out Dogs Trust the Bee Dog Smart. They have some wonderful safety information, and they also do workshops. So if there is a bite within the family, they do workshops to help explain what's happened and also repair that bond. The Kennel Club has their Safe and Sound program, which again is educating how to behave around dogs, but also if in a circumstance where a child is set upon by a dog, some safety advice, what to do, like be a tree, and if you're knocked over, to protect your head and things like that. So lots of different ways to teach children how to be safe around dogs. Dr. Kendall Shepherd has written a fabulous book called The Canine Commandments, which is aimed at children, and it's all about behavior around dogs and how to teach children how to behave appropriately around dogs. On my YouTube channel, I have a dog bite prevention playlist, and I also have some dog bite prevention downloads as well. If you want to go to my link, which is www.thehealthfuldoctor.com/WPW links, and I will just put it across the bottom of the screen. It will also be in the show notes as well, should you want to learn more and get some tips. If you've got any questions, please send me a message or comments. Don't forget to follow or subscribe for more information. And if you want to know more about dog bites and you want me to do some more videos on it, let me know as well, and let me know what you want to know about so that I can carry on creating more content. Have a beautiful evening. Stay safe, stay well. Bye.